all of the answers to your questions as they pertain to this specific focus area. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, so the stage is set. But before we dive in proper, let's take a quick break. This is Today with John and Helen. Stay with us.
Dive.
Those are very deep questions. All of this stuff. For me, or not in 2022, the increase in pump prices or not, the disbursement of 5,000 naira to poor Nigerians as palliatives, we can go on and on, Helen.
But we won't go Boyo.
Omadeli
Boyo.
Yes.
He's a medical director of Pinterest Specialist Hospital here in Lagos. He's a pastor with almost 40 years experience in the practice of medicine.
Time, getting on with the show. Now, religion and spiritual.
Most of the people that we look up to as fathers of the faith were never religious. They were no, when you talk of religion, you talk about a pathway, well-defined pathway to God or the Supreme Being, articles of faith, what you should do and what you should not do. When you look at Abraham, for instance, he was what we call today a pagan, an idol worshiper, and God visited him. And it's going to be very surprising to tell anybody today that God can visit a pagan. I want to use the word pagan because there are so many explanations to that. African traditional religion, people say it's a private way of worshiping God. But whatever it is, God visited this guy and told him to move out of his father's house in the book of Genesis and go to a place I will show you. Okay. And this man just kept moving on. And funny enough, God didn't appear to have seen his idols. And God didn't appear to have seen that the wife had no child. And he just followed God. And he just went on and on and on until got to a place called the Promised Land, and God said, stay here. Okay. But later on in the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, when they're talking about people that had faith, his name was mentioned as a man who began to look for a city that has foundations, whose builder and maker is God. Now, he had met God, had walked with God to a place we can call a promised land, an El Dorado of sorts, And here the Bible says when he got there, he lived there as a pilgrim, looking for a city whose builder and maker is God.
So he was more of a spiritual.
He was more of a spiritual person.
That is it.
And he didn't write anything. He just had an encounter with God, and his children had encounters with God. His grandchildren had encounters with God, and they went on, and it just depended on their religion.
You didn't have a religion.
So,
we are the ones that give
the question
religion.
again is, where does religion and spirituality meet?
So religion is really a creation of man.
Okay.
And institutions.
Okay.
Men like to institutionalize things. They just come into your life. You only choose your wife. After that, other things just work out like that.
Even that. Your paths just cross.
Okay.
Later on in life, we regret ever meeting her. But when you look at the children and look at how far I've gone, you already said I'm going to go through it all together. So spirituality is like that. So
than 1%. But like the
person, that defines his religion. But we'll find that the way church, mosque, everything is organized is for you to get into the religion first. People ask you, have you been baptized? You know, what church you go to. They don't want to know whether you're a good person or not. What church you go to. Are you a Muslim? They just look at your name and they see Abdul Rahman. They say, must be a Muslim. And then, you know, perception is reality. They begin to relate with you that must be a Muslim. They only get to know later that you have that name. That you are your hunger for God or the supernatural and how you want to do it. So in spirituality, it's like character and personality. Character is who you are when no one is looking at you in the private, in the dark. And personality, from the word persona, is charisma, who you want people to see you to be. And so you present yourself so people can accept you as a banker. You dress like a banker. You talk like a banker. So that man must be a banker. The way he's talking, no? He must be a doctor. Can't you see with a tie and a stethoscope? He must not be a doctor. He must be a mechanic. Because he's wearing a white coat, having a tie and a stethoscope, and you say he must be a doctor. So religion is more of a facade. And we all love it because it's like what Karl Marx would say.
Sure. Okay, Doctor. I like the way you're dismantling all of this because, you know, for some of us,